Hello and welcome to another edition of Power of the Pen. I am Luana Bradford with the Bradford Group as well as the Bradford Group Consulting, and I am so excited to have another amazing author here on our platform, Miss Toni S. Winston. Toni, how's it going?
It is wonderful. Couldn't be better. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you for saying yes. I know your schedule is very busy and we've had a challenge getting this done, but here we are. On Women's History Month, so I think it worked perfectly, right?
Yes. Good, great timing. Always great timing.
Yes. Well, for those of you that are joining us for the first time, what Power of the Pen is designed to do is to showcase and spotlight women and their voices through the power of the pen. We want to challenge you to open up your mind as it relates to being entertained, being educated, being uplifted, and inspired as we journey in this conversation with Miss Toni. And the book we're going to talk about today is She, CEO, Let's Go, Remove the Excuses and Stand in Your Power. How appropriate for Women's History Month, yes?
Yes, very much so.
Well, Toni, one thing I loved about this book, it's a collaborative book. Mm-hmm. And each author was able to showcase their experience in business and in life. And you took us through a journey of discovery, resiliency, and recovery.
Yes.
And before we go into that, I want you to just tell us what made you say, you know what, it's now time for me to write my story.
Well, we all have those pivotal moments in our lives where, we've had some challenges, we've come through them, we are better for it. And I felt like it was an appropriate time to encourage another person's heart. I am an encourager by nature. And when the opportunity came up for me to participate in this collaboration, I said, okay, I do have something I want to say, especially to the women out there who started businesses late in life and those who are starting businesses every day. You need that encouragement. And that particular collaboration was so much fun. I pulled a lot of things out of me that I generally do not tell people about. But that's one thing about being an encourager. You don't worry about how people are going to feel about your story in terms of you being embarrassed, but you show your resiliency where you get out there, you scrape your knees a little bit, you've fallen on your face, but you've gotten up, dust yourself off, and you're encouraging others to do the same. And I feel real good about it.
Well, I love that. As you are an encourager, I'm an exhorter. And so I want to take a moment to tell our audience about your amazing journey in life. You are a best-selling author. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And this is one of your books. So you have multiple books under your belt. You are also a speaker, a teacher, an educator, and a travel expert, as well as a serial entrepreneur. And I understand that congratulations is in order because you're about to start your own television show. Is that correct?
That is correct. I'm very excited. Very excited.
That's great. What's the name of the show?
Queen Dynasty TV.
Queen Dynasty TV. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And that is what's so amazing. So in your journey, you started off telling us about this little girl growing up in the simple country life in Sylacauga, Alabama. And your discovery journey began with Encyclopedia Britannica. And for those of you thinking, what is that? Well, that was our internet back in the day.
Yeah, that was our Google.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about that journey, and what was it about what you saw in the encyclopedia that really sparked who you are today? I think further added to your genius, but also helped you to journey in your entrepreneurship.
Reading. My mother was a reader. My dad read paper and just about everything else. But my mother read a lot of books. I think my mother basically missed her calling. My mother probably could have been one of the best accountants or teachers in the whole wide world, because I saw her with a book in her hand when I was a child. And my parents wanted me to be a good student. And the library at that time was really not all that great. We were not really welcomed at the local library. So my parents felt like it was a good idea to invest their hard-earned money into the black and white copies of the Encyclopedia Britannica. I was 9 years old. I'll never forget it. The salesman came by the house. I don't even remember how much my father paid for them, but I know that they were like gold, because my mother would make me wash my hands before I would touch those beautiful black and white glossy pages. And it was for me to get my homework, do my research, but I am an adventurous kind of person. I would look at the pictures and just immediately imagine where I could be looking at those pictures. And I will never forget looking at a picture of the Eiffel Tower. And it touched my heart when I was 9 years old. And it's still touching my heart till today. It is my ultimate dream to get to Paris. You know that. That is on my bucket list. And God willing, we're going in September.
Well, I'll be joining you. But isn't that amazing? So I want to pause for a moment in what you said. At 9 years old, you were impressed upon by this image. That at that time you didn't know how it was going to place such an imprint on you that it started to shift how you traverse life. Mm-hmm. And to the point that you are now sharing the world of exploration, the world of integrating cultures with many people around the world. And your calling is especially for women, and you said divorced women.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
You know, divorce is, I'm going to be honest, I got married when I was 45 years old, and I thought it was going to be forever. And divorce can be very, 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 very debilitating. It can be very painful. And needless to say, mine was. And it didn't have to be that way, but I do understand now. I'm older, emotionally, physically, I'm wiser, spiritually. I understand. But we have to take these things that happen to us, especially like divorce, and we have to excel, do better than you've ever done before. And the biggest thing that happened to me was about 2.5 years after I was divorced, a really good friend introduced me to travel. And it changed my life. I always say travel can fix your life. And that's the title of a book that I've been really thinking about here lately.
Well, one of your quotes is, travel to be free to travel. Did I get that right?
Yes, ma'am. And that's been copyrighted. Yes, ma'am. I'm getting ready to trademark it.
What is it about travel? Because again, this story that you wrote is taking us through a journey, mm-hmm. But it's a life. It's an emotional journey. It's a growth. It's a maturation. As you said, it's an awareness that you're sharing with us. But the tie that binds is this little spark or seed that was planted at 9 years old, mm-hmm. that has now just blossomed into this massive oak tree saying, travel, travel, travel. Yeah. Tell us how you decided as an author which pieces of your life to share, because we often tell people, write about what you know.
Mhm.
And we tell women that it's so important for us to find our voice. But sometimes we're so used to hiding behind that mask, Toni, that, and we're used to being that imposter, that we give just a little snippet,
Right.
but not the heart. But when I read your chapter, I saw Toni. I saw the joy. I saw the pain. I saw the warrior. I saw the victor, right? And then I saw the dreamer come back.
Oh, yeah. And I'm going to add one more. The queen.
The queen, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Because the one thing I learned as a child, having both sets of my grandparents until I was 17, they were very, very strong Christian people. Both my grannies, my grandma and my big mama, they were very, very strong women. They were married and they respected my grandfathers, but they had a voice in the house. And that encouraged me as well. Not that they were saying anything ugly to them. They respected them, but they had a voice in the house. And I remember both of them teaching me Bible verses and telling me that you can do anything you put your mind to, because God is there and God will bless you to be whatever you want to be. And I believed it, and I still believe it to this day. And there is nothing that we can do to ourselves that we cannot recover from. And that's one of the things that I wanted to show in my book. Even though I had a hard time, we all do, we have challenges. I'm not saying that nobody's living this easy life, but you cannot let it knock you down to the point where you don't get back up and do something with that.
I love that. I want to read something in your book. You said, I could dream about traveling the world. As I got older, the dream was pushed firmly in the back of my mind because I did not think I could travel. Mm-hmm. Me, a Black girl who was educated on the hill and paid below my skill levels at my first corporate job. Mm-hmm. I can't travel. I used to watch as coworkers would take their vacations and come back with a scrapbook full of pictures and tan bodies. At that time, I had no idea that I could do it too. Mm-hmm. I really wasn't really educated that I could do it too. I was so envious. I thought you needed thousands of dollars to travel the world. I made bad mistakes with the funds I had. I was so caught up in trying to fit in with my so-called friends in the corporate world, I forgot about some of the most important principles that I was taught, such as pay your 10% in tithes to the Lord, as well as 10% to yourself.
Yes. Live
below your means and save for a rainy day.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah. That came from Big Mama. Big Mama always carried a purse when she was out, and she always had a little pretty lacy handkerchief with $100 bill in it that she'd saved from, the household money that Big Daddy had given her. She raised 14 children. My mama was number 5. And I saw her do some amazing things with a little bit of money and determination. I should have written in there that I let myself talk me out of my faith and my determination. That's what we have to have. You have to have enough faith to believe that you can do something and that God will clear your path and make sure that if it is in his will, you can do it. But also, too, I am a firm believer that God will give you some of the things that you want. May not be everything that you need. You know what I mean? He'll give you everything you need and some of the things you want. Excuse me, I said that the wrong way.
Yes.
But I also know that if you don't believe in you first, how can you get anyone else to believe in you? And you cannot let not one circumstance make you forget that.
That right there was powerful. To our listening audience, we are here with best-selling author, speaker, teacher, major influencer in the travel arena, Miss Toni S. Winston. And we're talking about her chapter in the collaborative book, She CEO, Let's Go, Remove the Excuses and Stand in Your Power. And Toni, you are so right. Sometimes we get so into our head. Mm-hmm. We allow those little demons and limited beliefs to get in our way, right?
Right.
And we find ourselves doing what this is telling us not to do. We finding those excuses, right?
Yes.
Because any excuse will do.
Yes. Yes. I heard a quote by Giselle Bunsen on the Today Show a few years ago. She had written a book about, I think it was postpartum depression when she was pregnant with one of her children. And she said, you have to be so very careful with your mind. Your mind is an instrument. And if you're not careful, it will play you. And there are some days when I am thinking about something a little bit too hard and I let my mind go. Because you do have to have some control over your mind. Because if not, you'll be thinking things you have no business thinking. And if you're thinking, I can't get up out of bed today, you won't. I can't walk to the mailbox to get my mail, you won't. I'm serious. These are things that keep people bound. If you tell yourself, I think I can, I know I can, I know I will, and then put feet to your faith, you can do it. You can do it.
You know what you're saying. So I want to go back to where you said you were dreaming about travel, but then you said as you got older, that dream was pushed firmly back. And I think what you were just explaining to us is we can get in our own way. That yes. There is purpose that's intended for us, but out of fear, out of life's action trash, we come up with that excuse of why things are the way they are, rather than, as you said, being really accountable and responsible about what I'm thinking about, what I'm going to focus on.
Right.
And be intentional, right, about living purposefully.
Oh, yes.
And for you, it's that travel. And I would like you to talk a little bit about this, because you and I have shared how, from a very simplistic lens, people can say, well, yes, I travel because I like to go on vacation and experience new things. You travel, and you're in the travel business because you use the term like connecting cultures. Mm-hmm. And this month's theme, International Women's History, the theme for this year is breaking the bias. And when you help to be that conduit to intersect cultures, mm-hmm. to create avenues of awareness, of expanded experiences, you're helping people to hashtag break the bias.
Yes.
That's pretty powerful.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, being from a very small town, 50 miles south of Birmingham, I mean, people getting out of there and getting out of that mindset, going to college, dreaming of being financially secure, and seeing the world was part of the reasons why I wanted to leave home and go to college. But as I stated in the book, I did let some things, circumstances, pull me back, and they had me bound. But let me tell you something. Meeting people like you and some of the other ladies that I've met through you networking, and seeing people who have had extreme things happen to them and they're still thriving, it encouraged my heart so much more for me to get out here and continue to encourage other women as well. Let me say something to you, Luana. I worked in corporate for almost 40 years doing something I didn't like. I'm just going to be very honest. I was a human resources professional because I love people, but I hated that job. It did not bring me joy. But you and I both know that when we're talking about travel and some of the places where we have been, you tell me about your Italy experience because you were raised there. What happens to my face? I can't stop smiling because that is my wheelhouse. And when I realized that I cheated, I'm going to say it, I cheated myself all of those years thinking I could not do this. And the simplest thing in the world was just pick up the phone back then, call somebody, find out exactly how much it will cost. Because even back then they had payment plans like we do today. Everything is affordable as long as you have the knowledge. Knowledge is power. That is something that those two words we cannot wear out. 3 words, excuse me. Knowledge is power. And you cannot sit around and watch TV and watch your life leave you without experiencing something that you love to do. And me, you guys know what I always tell you. I'm going to be at the International Terminal at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. Deuces. I'm out. And that's what I'm getting ready to go back to doing. COVID stopped a little bit of that, yes, but it just encouraged my heart to do it even more now.
One of the things that I liked that even, we're still in the pandemic, but you found creative ways to still let people know you were still relevant, to help people tap into their dreams of where they wanted to travel, doing different little mini vignettes and just fun things. Yes. What would you like to say to those that are listening where they may feel a little stuck or maybe just overwhelmed and don't know how to recharge themselves with their dream?
Guys, I do understand everyone has their level of getting out. But if you are, wherever you live, if you cannot get in your car and take a nice, what I call a Sunday drive to a nice spot that makes you happy. Here, I live in Powder Springs, Georgia. Down the street in Dallas, there's a nice waterfall that I like to drive to. Sometimes I don't get out of the car. I just pull up, sit there, and just breathe. Inhale, exhale. As my friend likes to say, exhale me, inhale God. Exhale me, inhale God. Find a spot, even if it's in your house. There are spaces in your home that is your little spot for you to be you. A lot of people don't take the time to do that, and they miss themselves. During the pandemic, I really found out who I really, really was, because I spent so much time here in this office, in my house, and I really had to keep myself from getting depressed because we were not able to get out and get a little sun on our face and interact with our family and friends. And it just was so daunting, and woe is me and blah, 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 and so many deaths. But thanks be to God that I was strong enough to fight through all of that darkness and start looking at what I could do to not only help myself, but help other people. We live in the metro Atlanta area. This is one of the biggest areas in the South, and it's so busy. But there are so many nice little cubbies. I call them little cubby holes. You can go and get a nice hamburger, a glass of wine. Believe it or not, there is a little winery here in Hiram, Georgia. Everybody runs up to Chateau Elon, but there's a nice little place here in Hiram. There's a nice little dessert place in Douglasville. And there are a lot of places you can go where you don't have to worry about being near other people if that's something that you don't want to do. You just have to get outside yourself, remain faithful and strong, and put your best foot forward and embrace life and live it to the fullest.
I love what you said, taking us through that mantra and reflection and meditation of exhaling me, yep, and inhaling God, and just allowing yourself to sit in that. And when you're inhaling, it's like that breath is life force, right?
Yes. Yes.
And it's helping you to center. And you're right, with the pandemic, it forced us to be quiet in a very unique and different way. Mm-hmm. And I would be shocked if there's anyone out there that didn't have some modicum of self-discovery and self-awareness during that time. So something clicked, something shifted. I believe that the world has forever changed on a spiritual level because of this. And going back to your chapter, this was a spiritual journey for you. Mm-hmm. Again, there was an awakening, and then there was a coming back to your truth. And now you're saying, this is me, and this is how I'm going to go forward, and this is how I'm going to share my message and give hope and inspiration to other people.
Oh, yeah.
F. Scott Fitzgerald stated, "Don't write because you want to say something. Write because you have something to say." There are thousands of people waiting to read your book and hear your message. Be a guest on the Power of the Pen TV series. To complete your application and schedule your interview, call 404-618-2824 today. The world is waiting for you.
And I want to take myself down in a moment so that you can talk to our audience and tell them a little bit more about what you do, because it's not just you traveling or helping others to travel, but I understand that you have learned how to monetize the travel experience.
Oh, yes. Guys, I just want to let you know, if travel is on your mind and if it's something that you want to do, don't go to sleep on it. It is a great opportunity. And if you want to partner with me, please contact me. I would love that. I'm just going to tell you guys that travel has brought me completely full circle. What I mean by that is I have been able to pay off a lot of debt with travel. I've been able to go to some amazing places, pennies on the dollar. And I've met some amazing people from every walk of life. It is just a shot in the arm just to get out there and see all different kinds of people in all different areas of the world. God has truly created some beautiful places, and it is up to us to get out there and experience it. I can't tell you how my life has changed. I think you probably remember me saying at the beginning of the broadcast that I am thinking about writing a book called Travel Can Fix Your Life. I get so excited just looking at different places to go and imagining taking people with me. I will be taking a very large group to Paris in September, and so many of the ladies and gentlemen who I've spoke with who wants to travel with us are very, very excited. You know, it's very, very contagious to travel, see the world, and take your friend or family with you. And that's what I love about travel. It doesn't discriminate. Travel is for everybody who wants to do it. I don't get concerned about how long I have to wait for my plane or anything like that, because I'm a reader. I always have a book on my phone, comfortable, and just get up and do it. If you are thinking about traveling and you want to use travel as a way to monetize or supplement your income, this is the best way to do it. And what I like about it is that you can always encourage and help someone else do the same. Share it. Travel is the number one industry in the world, and no matter what goes on, people will never, ever stop traveling. I just want to thank you guys for this opportunity, for being here. I am Toni Winston, and I am affectionately known as the Freedom Travel Diva, because travel will free you. Travel to be free to travel, but also travel will fix your life.
I love that, Toni. This has been so great. I want to encourage all of you to continue to follow Power the Pen every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern on E360 TV under the Fresh Starts channel. And if you want to be featured as an author, reach out, DM me, or send me an email at luana@bradfordgroup.com, and we will get you on the show. Toni, before we go, I want to ask you one other question. You said, God fulfilled his promise of keeping me covered My journey hasn't been without challenges, but I know with God, all things are possible.
Yes.
Can you talk to us about what having that spiritual anchor has meant to you and continues to mean to you in life?
Oh my gosh. There's no way I could have accomplished anything getting this far. I am just grateful to wake up every morning at 61 years old and just feeling good every day and encouraging someone who will call me and say, girl, I need to tell you about what happened to me, blah, 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 blah. And the first thing out of my mouth is, before you say anything, let's pray. Let's talk to God about it. Because I do believe that we don't need to wallow in it. We need to release it to God, let it go, and live our best life. I hate that tagline to a certain degree, but I believe it wholeheartedly that if people find out what really makes them happy and get to doing that, we will not have so many sad, different types of situations that are happening in our world right now. And I just believe that if you believe in yourself, believe in the power of the Holy Spirit and God, there's nothing you can't do. Nothing. Nothing.
I love it. Well, to our listening audience, you've heard it here. You've been introduced to another amazing best-selling author, Miss Toni Winston, who is also the intersect of cultures with her expertise in travel. Please reach out to her at Toni@freedomtraveldiva.com. You can get her book on Amazon.com as well. She's CEO. Let's go. Remove the excuses and stand in your power. And let's stay tuned because I think there's another book about to come out.
Yep. Can't wait. I'm excited.
Well, Toni,
thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being on the Power of the Pen. And to our listening audience, just remember that within each of us, we have a unique voice, a unique imprint that is designed to be shown to the world. Get away from fear. Get out of your mind. Use the power of the pen. Use the power of your voice. And believe that when your vision intersects with opportunity, just like Miss Toni Winston here, success and your dreams are inevitable. Until next time, goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bradford, expanding the impact and influence of authors from around the world. If you want to change the world, pick up your pen and write, said Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Books are uniquely portable magic. Power of the Pen spotlights authors from around the world. Listen as authors share messages that educate, motivate, inspire, and entertain. Join us each Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern on e360tv.com.